What's up, fam? You may already know why we're here. We are going to process our stevia. So my wife does a lot with herbs, and up until today we haven't done a whole lot with stevia. Alright, and the stevia is an amazing herb. It's one of the herbs that we like to take with us when we go places to let people taste how amazing herbs can be. Alright, so my wife said she was going to actually go through the process of processing out her stevia. And I said, wait, before you do that, let me do a little deep dive and see how I can go about propagating stevia. So I've talked to a lot of people who tried to propagate stevia and didn't have any success. So I am going to propagate some stevia from cuttings before my wife do her thing. Alright, so I'm going to show y'all exactly how I'm going to do it. And I don't know if we're going to know whether it worked before this video come out, but I will let you know at a later time if not. Alright guys, so I'm going to take y'all along with me. I'm going to show y'all exactly what I do. And if it works, guys, you have the secret recipe to go on your own stevia. We want to grow tons of it because we want to do a lot of things with it. You know, you can replace sugar with stevia, and it's a much healthier choice. You know, now I have nothing against sugar. I love sugar. I love stuff that got sugar in them. But if I can replicate that taste with a healthier option, I'm all for it. All right, so you know we're getting older. You know, all us. Hopefully, you continue to get older, and we have to change things and try to do what's best for your growing years, your older years. And we figure cutting some of the sugar out couldn't hurt. Alright, not saying that we're going to cut all of it out, but we are going to cut as much of it out as we possibly can. And when we can't, we won't. Alright, so this is my stevia plant. Alright, so we've been growing this thing for a couple of years. Those of you who came to the SoilFamily Expo, y'all have seen this plant. This is a plant that sits on the table and we allow people to pull leaves off it and try it. And amazingly, most people have never tried the stevia plant. You know, not most of the people we ran into. Alright, now I'm sure there's a lot of people that's very familiar. You know, I know a lot of people are familiar with the stevia in the pack. This is where it comes from, but I'm sure it's extra processed because as you can see, there's nothing white about these leaves. So they have to do something to get it to turn white. Don't know. I'm sure it's not something that we prefer. So we're going to try to do what we can to make some sweetener. You know, and we want to bring y'all along on this journey with us so you can possibly learn how to do this and get healthy for you and your family. So let's go. Let's see how we're going to propagate these stevia plants. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is put some peat moss in my barrel. And then I got some potting soil also. No particular brand, whatever works for you. Alright, peat moss, the same thing. And I'm going to try to get them about 50-50. There's no particular reason for this, except that it seems like it might be right. So guys, at this point, all I'm going to do is mix my peat moss with my soil. And I'm sure you can actually just do regular peat moss to go ahead and get the roots started on this. but I like my plants to go ahead and have some nutrients already started once they start rooting, so we don't have a problem. So I'm sure you can see these little balls. Yeah, that's my rabbit manure. Of course, I was topping off a lot of my plants in the garden with some extra nutrients. And so I still have some in my barrel. It's not necessary, but I don't see where it can hurt either. Alright fam, so this is how I'm planning on starting them off. Yeah, seed starters. Alright, there's really no real particular reason for this other than I'm planning on having a lot of cuttings and I don't know how many will take. So I figure I will up the odds by having a lot of starts. So if I have a lot of starts and some of them fail, at least I will have some that did not. So that's the whole reason for the seed starter. Of course, once they actually start rooting, I will remove them from this cart and put them into either bigger pots or into the garden to go ahead and get started growing to give us some more excellent herbs. Alright, so this step is pretty self-explanatory, right? So I'm taking my mixture and I'm putting it into my cells. Now my mixture is moist, so you definitely want to make sure that your peat moss is moist when you integrate it with your soil. If you integrate it with your soil, either way. And you can do that by sitting it in a bucket of water and putting something on top to submerge it. Or sticking it, putting a whole bunch of it inside your wheelbarrow and filling your wheelbarrow with water. It do help if you actually put something on top of it so it don't float. But shortly after, it will soak up that water and be moist and ready for you to use. So keep that in mind. You know, some people do it for a day. It don't really take too long to do. But just depending on how meticulous you are with that, just soak it. You'll be able to tell when they dissolve the water. Once it dissolves the water, you're pretty good. As long as you water it on a regular basis, and it does a few good things. It stops your plant from actually drying out. But the bad thing about it, if you don't go ahead and feed it once the roots start, there's no real nutrients inside the peat moss, so your plant will not do well with just the peat moss. So do not leave it very long once it starts growing without feeding it or removing it from these cells and putting it in something that got some food in it. Now, being that I do have rabbit manure in this wooded, and plus, you know, I got a potting soil which has some nutrients already incorporated in it, so that's the reason for me actually mixing the potting soil and the peat moss together, just to give it a little kick. once they start going. If they were seeds, you wouldn't need anything. But since I'm going to do it from a cutting, these plants will already be hopefully in active growth and hopefully will put out some roots and start to feed shortly after transplanting them. Alright, so we got ourselves filled. Alright, and I'm pretty happy with them being filled enough. You know. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and get my cuttings. So fam, what I found out about the stevia and getting cuttings from them is that you want to take the tips of them. Alright, so that's all I'm going to cut. And as you can see, I have a bunch of tips, and I'm going to use as many of them as I can to try to get as many plants started as I can. So these are the tips of the stevia plant. Alright, so I'm going to continue to cut these because as soon as I finish, my wife going to take over and she's going to do her thing. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my leaves and my cuttings to be transplanted, okay? So simply, I'm just going to remove these leaves. And what I want to do is leave as little leaves on this cutting as possible so the plant can spend a lot of time developing roots, okay? So, but I am going to leave some leaves. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and stick them in some water real quick. Okay guys, so I got my cutting prepared. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's cut at an angle. And I'm going to set it right there for a little while so it can actually soak up some water. So some of these branches are a little flimsy. So I may not have as many of them as I was expecting to have. Alright fam, so I'm placing all my cuttings into my tray. Alright, I did trim the leaves off of all of them. I cut each bottom at an angle. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm placing them down into my tray, all of them below one of the nodules. Alright, so the reason for that is generally that is where your roots will emerge from. So they come out the bottom and out of those nodules that you remove the leaves from. So stevia can be propagated by seed or cutting. But what I heard is, and what I'm told or doing my research, is they are propagated better from cutting than they are from seed. So the percentage of germination from seed is very, very low. Even though you can get it to do it, your chances are not as good. The seeds are very, very small. So you're going to always, if you have a plant, you're going to always get to a point where you're going to want to harvest them and use them for different things. So why not take cuttings in the meanwhile and get you some extra plants. So I'm hoping to be able to generate a whole lot of plants to do all the stuff that me and my wife has talked about doing with this stevia. You know, I think we can actually help ourselves, our family, and some of our soil family in their life. You know, just showing some people who might not have any idea of how amazing this plant is a start. You know, so that's one of the things we do here on our channel, is make sure that we educate some of the newer growers or people who are not familiar with some of the stuff that we do on how to do it. We want everybody to do what we do if they want to. If you want to do it, we want to show you how to do it. And we want to put it in a way that's pleasant for you to actually watch. Okay? That's the reason why you can't see my face, because it's pleasant for you not to see it. But we do love what we do, and we love, you know, getting this information and bringing it to all of our soil fans. And we enjoy getting information from you all also. So it's a win-win. There's just some people that won't be able to do this. There's be some people that can't, you know, for different reasons, like where they live or how they live. And that's fine. But there'll be so many people that won't say, man, I always want to know. I always want to try. So this is what this process is going to be about. You know, we have many herbs. And my wife have become really knowledgeable and proficient with a lot of them. And we take the joy in bringing y'all along in our journeys, enriching our lives and yours. Of course, you know, coming on the YouTube, we had no idea that we would take such joy in giving to people that we never met. But we do. We generally have a joy for sharing knowledge, you know, enriching other people's lives in the best way we can. So making a difference in somebody's life is a major thing, you know, because you can actually change the trajectory of someone's life, someone's kid's life. And whether you're going to know it or not, you had some say so in how some of these kids turned out because you enriched the lives of their parents, and in turn, their parents enriched their lives, and it goes on and on. All right, guys, so I think that will do it. So all I want to do now is water all these in. Okay. So I do have peat moss on here, so they will stay moist for a very long time. And just so you know, my seed trays come with a tray at the bottom. Okay. So I don't know if you can see that. It holds water. So I'm not in danger of my plants drying out and not, on a day that I couldn't get to them or it was extremely hot. My big stevia tends to drink a lot of water. And some days we come back in and looking really sad when we know we just filled it up with water the day before. And we do keep a tray underneath it just because of the amount of water that it drinks. But it is happy where it's at, and it's and with the amount of water we give it. So we're going to finish watering this in, and I'm gonna go ahead and start preparing this plant for my wife. All right. Okay, guys, so I do have a little more vegetation on some of these that more than I want. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these up just a little bit. I know a lot of people going to ask, why didn't you use rooting hormone? This is crazy. Or cinnamon. Never been a big fan of it. Not saying that it don't work. It never worked for me. I'll put it that way. So I decided not to use it. Did some tests where I used it on something and didn't use it on another, and I didn't have, no significant difference in the outcome. Could be my fault. Could be that it just didn't work. But that's the reason. So guys, what I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna take it and put it in filtered sun or in the shaded area where it's not in direct sun. And hopefully that'll go ahead and get it a chance to start rooting. And I'll keep an eye on it. And whenever I get a chance, I will give y'all an update on these particular plants and what we're going to do with them. Fam, so I found the perfect spot to put these on the front porch. Alright. So the good thing about this area is it gets very, very little light, and it's only for a short period of time. And it stays shaded with indirect light all day long, pretty much. It gets a couple hours of just a little bit of light, and I get to actually lay eyes on it every day so I don't forget, in case it need water or some kind of attention, I don't forget about it. We can go back here and get this plant and get it started. Man, guys, this doggone long bean plant. This is crazy. Like, we just had our neighbors come over and harvest this just yesterday. And these beans were too small for them to harvest yesterday. We literally get these beans every day, like okra. If you're a bean lover, these things are delicious, guys. They are really, really tasty. They are plenty. They are plenty. They grow throughout a pretty hot summer. Like, we have no problem with keeping it going throughout our summer, which is odd for us. You know, most of our plants, once it gets hot, stop acting right. You know. But yeah, so let's get this done. We're gonna go over here and get this plant and get it ready for my wife to work her magic with it. Alright guys, so I'm going to do an aggressive cut to this plant because we want it to start all over and produce us some more amazing herbs. So we're only going to leave a couple inches above the soil. As y'all notice, I had to come in the house. It was getting a little steamy out there. Feel like it's summertime or something. Alright fam, so this is our stevia plant. I cannot lie, that hurt just a little bit. But I know it's for the best of the plant. Alright, so I know it will grow back. I know it will produce these amazing leaves again. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick it back out and let it do its thing. I'm gonna leave the rest of this to my wife. She's gonna do the rest, and I am done.
I was really enjoying Bobby doing all the work, but y'all, look at what he did to the stevia. This is stevia. Sugar. I mean, it's amazing. Natural sugar. Now, let's talk about stevia a little bit. I know most people going to say, I don't like stevia because I don't like the aftertaste. This, you cannot buy from the grocery store. So the stevia that you get from Starbucks and all those other places or the grocery store, this is not the same. We're going to make an extract, stevia extract, which is better than sugar. It's healthier than sugar. It's healthier than stevia. Yeah, stevia from the store. We ain't messing with that stuff. We're going to make our own because it's better for you. It's better to you. It's better for you. And that's what we aiming for. Healthier life and, you know, all things homemade. So it's simple. You can buy stevia seeds and grow your own. You can order the plant, a live start, and grow that. You can buy the stevia dried and make it that way. However, we have been growing stevia for about, I want to say at least a year and a half now, ish, or so. So to be able to make sugar is free for us because I'm going to show y'all how to do it. Simple, simple. So let's get down to the nitty gritty, clean this stevia up, and show y'all where we're going to go from there. Alright fam, so we could easily throw this stevia in the freeze dryer and dry this and have stevia powder. We can throw it in a coffee grinder, and then we can make stevia powder. However, if you're familiar with the stevia from the store, it does leave a weird aftertaste, and that we don't want, the weird aftertaste. That's what turned a lot of people off from stevia. So sifting through all of the leaves, and trust me, we will freeze dry some of this because we won't use all of this to make this extract. We need about 2.5 cups of stevia. So what we are doing is picking the best leaves we can find. My husband has gotten what he needed to propagate so we can grow more and more stevia throughout the year. We definitely want to harvest this before it get cold again to be able to make more. However, this is why we freeze dry what we don't process over the next few days. This is like a 4-day process. See that leaf? That's good. So you want the best of the best leaves. You don't want the stem because the stem is pretty much just as bitter and weird tasting as that stuff from the store that we want to stay away from. So we're going to get the good leaves off. We're going to freeze dry some. We're going to make an extract with some. So let's get these leaves going. Alright, so I have my bowl that I'm putting my stevia leaves that I need to clean, and I have a bowl for the chickens, rabbit, and quail. So let's finish cleaning these off. You can clean these leaves off. You know when your mama used to tell you to go outside and get a switch, and then you bring her that switch in the house with all the leaves on it, and she would just pop all those leaves off. But the only reason why I'm not doing that is because I don't want the beat up leaves like this. So I'm being picky about my leaves. I only want nice, pretty, clean leaves. Like this. So you want to sift through your leaves. Make sure you don't have any bad leaves. You want to get those out. Alright? So let's carry on. Alright fam, so I think I have about 2.5 cups of stevia leaves here, and that's what I need for my extraction. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll finish cleaning the rest of my leaves, but I figure we go ahead and get this part started because, you know, it's going to be a few days. So, cold water. You always want to wash your herbs with cold water. These leaves are dirty. They were growing outside, and you know, you always want to pick through your leaves, you know, check them real good. Make sure that you got all nice, not burnt, you know, clean leaves. Because this is food. Cold water. I'm just going to sift through and squeeze it some, get all that dirt out of there. And you want to do this 2 or 3 times. yes, you will have sweet fingers when you finish playing with your stevia. You are not washing the sweetness out of your leaves by doing this. So don't worry. You can eat a leaf, after you wash it really, really good. Basically until your water in your bowl is clean. Oh, and this bowl, it has holes on that side. So if I hold it up, it'll just hold the water. But if I tip it to the side, it'll drain. And the holes are small enough for the dirt particles to go out, but all my leaves will stay in. So I like doing it in two bowls, in a bowl, because then I can see what I'm getting on the other side. So, alright, let's move on. Alright, so over here, I have my cutting board. So I'm boiling 8 cups of water. And you want your water to be about 180 degrees-ish. You don't want, you want to control the temperature of your water because you don't want to cook your herbs. So 180 degrees is as hot as you want it. So I'm boiling 8 cups of water. I got I'm going to measure it because I have my measuring cup here. I want 2.5 cups of stevia leaves, and these are fresh stevia leaves that I just washed. I'm going to pack it down. About 2 cups. A little bit more. So that's about 2 cups-ish, give or take. I am going to rough chop. I'm gonna rough chop it. Just because I want to make sure I get all of that sweetness out of there. So that's good enough for that. So let me check my water. So other things you'll need. So you do need a measuring cup. Whether you want 1 cup, I got a 4-cup measuring cup. You need a pusher or I prefer a wooden spoon to do this. You need a pot. It could be glass. It could be metal. You need a strainer. I am going to use, I'm going to put cheesecloth inside here, inside my strainer, because I want to make sure I don't get any little pieces. So, let me explain a little bit of what we are about to do. The thing about stevia is once it go to seed, if your stevia start flowering, it's gonna become bitter. So you want to catch it before it starts flowering. I'm just getting my cheesecloth so I can put some in my strainer. It's doubled up. I'm gonna leave it just like that. So if you got a strainer and you know with little tiny holes, you don't have to use cheesecloth. So okay, don't let your stevia go to flour. If it go to flour, your stevia will be bitter. That you do not want bitter stevia. So that funny aftertaste or that that bitterness that most people don't like, why they don't like stevia, that's what we're getting ready to get rid of. We do not want that aftertaste or that bitterness. So we're going to take our 2.5 cups of stevia, our pot with our stevia in it, get all of that stevia in my pot. All that sweetness. Telling y'all, if you lick your fingers, they are sweet. So I got my pot with my 2.5 cups of stevia. I have my water, which I know I'm using a thermometer, so I know it's around 180 degrees. I'm going to get 4 cups of water. As you can see, 4 cups. And it's hot. I don't know if you can see it steaming. And I'm going to pour it on my stevia. This process takes about 20 seconds. Alexa, set timer for 20 seconds. Alexa, set timer for 20 seconds.
20 seconds, starting now.
So you just letting this, all you're doing is basically blanching that bitterness out of your stevia. You can do this with most or all of your herbs to get the bitterness out of them. I'm just going to let it sit until Alexa tell me my time is up. Get my Alexa, stop. Alright, so I'm going to bring you over to the sink because we're going to discard this water. Alright, so it's been about 30 seconds, but this is our stevia that we just poured the hot water on, and we're going to pour this water out. Now I'm going to let it go inside this bowl because I want y'all to see it. See that color? That's what you want. You want to go ahead and get rid of that. And it is warm. You can use your spoon to squeeze out that liquid. That, get rid of it. You don't want that. You can taste it. I mean, you can taste it to see what it tastes like. But you want to get rid of that. You don't need that. Alright? So, Make sure I get as much of that liquid out as I can. All right, let's go back. Back to we're gonna put this stevia back in my bowl. Get another 4 cups. Of water. Got my 4 cups of 180-degree water. Pour it on my stevia. Make sure it's all submerged in there. Put a top on it. So you don't want this to get any sunlight. You want to keep it in a cool place with no sunlight. So it is springtime here in the south, and we do have the air conditioner on, so it's pretty good. But because my top can still get light through it, I'm just gonna cover it up. I'm gonna let it sit for 24 hours. Just let it sit and soak. We got the bitterness off when we shocked it before this process. Now we'll let it sit for 24 hours, and we'll be back tomorrow to check on it. All right, so the rest of my stevia I'm gonna freeze dry. So let's get these babies cleaned up the rest of the way, and I'm gonna do them the same way. I still want, nice, healthy stevia leaves, no stems. All right, fam. So I have my stevia scraps for the animals. This is what we want to freeze dry. So we have our extract going, and that's sitting aside. We got to set that aside for 24 hours. So now I just washed my stevia leaves, and I'm gonna put them on my trays. So the good thing about the freeze dryer, which I'll link in the description, it doesn't take long to freeze dry herbs. And once you freeze dry your herbs, they are good for up to 25 years. The blessing is, we can grow these every year, but every year doesn't turn out the same. So we try to make sure we put some up just in case. So I only run my freeze dryer when I have a full load. So say if I didn't have enough stevia for a full load, I will run out in the garden and get something mint, lemongrass. We got so many herbs out there. Chamomile, so many things you can freeze dry. But it looked like, I think I got some blue butterfly peas out there. But it looked like I want all these leaves. I got sweet fingers. But I want all of those leaves. So, look like I may be interested. I just don't want to pile them high because the freeze dryer slots are not but so big. So I can spread some of this out a little bit. So the benefits of stevia. Stevia can help you with healthy weight loss because you need to cut out sugar pretty much when you are trying to lose weight. So using stevia can help with a healthy weight loss because you can substitute sugar for stevia. You would want to increase energy, of course, because that sugar drains your energy. Your alertness is better because you are not just being taken over by the sugar. It doesn't run your blood sugar up. This stevia doesn't run your blood sugar up. Stevia from the store, it's a whole new ball game. So you cannot judge this stevia by the stevia you get from the store. This is totally different. This is a herb. It is totally healthy. You can order it. Like I said, you can get it dried. You can grow it yourself. You can buy the seeds or the starts. And you have stevia. You can do this process, freeze drying it. And that way you can just put it with your herbs when you make tea. Drop a couple of stevia leaves in there. And that's your sweetener. Or this easy extract. Substitute it for all the sugar. Use this instead of sugar. So it's amazing. So we're going to stick these 4 trays inside the freeze dryer. And it is late in the evening, so these will be finished in the morning, which is great. So let's get these trays in and get our stevia freeze dried. So as I was saying earlier, this is a medium-sized freeze dryer from Harvest Right. I'll link this freeze dryer in the description. You can check it out. They are running a sale right now on freeze dryers through the month of June, I think. So, we got 4 trays going in. So once you crank this thing up, it'll tell you let it cool for 15 minutes. It's been 30 minutes. I've been cleaning leaves. Close the door, hit continue. Your job is done until the machine is finished. So we'll come back tomorrow for round 2. All right, Soil Fam. So it took about 14 hours to freeze dry, but because it was the middle of the night, I just put some extra drying time on, so I didn't have to be up in the middle of the night. This is freeze dried stevia, nice and crispy. The thing about the freeze dryer is it holds 95% of its nutrients. Does not lose the sweetness or anything. Love it. So I'm just going to put it in my mason jar. I'm going to put most of this in my mason jar. And some of it we will grind so you can see all the different ways you can preserve or store your stevia. So let me move this to the side so you can see it. And like I was saying, the first way we'll do is just keep the whole leaves, because when I make tea, I put it in this little jar, this little steeper, and you can just drop this in your pan, in your pot when you're boiling, or you can just stick it in your coffee cup or your teacup. Or I use these tea bags. Usually when I sell tea, I use these tea bags, and you can put these leaves in this bag with your other herbs as a sweetener. So But because I'm not making tea right now, I just want to put it in a jar, which is here, so I can put it away in my apothecary for later. And like I said, we'll also go ahead and grind some up in powder form so you can see that too. So with this, you can use these leaves just like this, or you can still make your, you can make a tincture with it. Leave it this way just for tea or something as a sweetener. Or you could still make your extract, which we are approaching day 2 of making stevia extract. Sorry about the knocking, y'all. It's my dog. They want to come in, but I don't want them to right now. It's early in the morning. This is the best time to be outside. So this is tray number 3. And I'm just taking my my pusher, my spoon, spatula, and pushing it down because, you know, I got a lot of space in here. To get more in there. And again, I'll link our freeze dryer in the description for you to check out. Harvest Right they do giveaways every month, and they are running a special throughout the month of June. These machines are an investment. However, it is well worth it because nothing goes to waste. We used to waste a lot of milk, a lot of eggs. Well, we didn't waste eggs, but you know, we get a lot of eggs. So now with the freeze dryer, I can always freeze dry 10, 12 dozen eggs, and they are good for 25 years. We can reconstitute it. We're good to go. So the fruit is amazing when you freeze dry it. Everything is amazing. Making your own herbs. Oh my God. Onion, and you know, we use a lot of cayenne for the apothecary. My husband cooked with it sometimes. Amazing. Amazing. So well worth the investment. It's always fun to do candy and ice cream and all that stuff. So definitely check it out. All right. So I put all 4 trays in here, but in a second we are going to get the coffee grinder and grind some. And I'm going to put my label on here. Stevia. This will make a lot of extract. So let's get the coffee grinder and grind some up. All right, Soil Fam. So this is day 2. Big and sweet. All right. So day 2, I am boiling 3 cups of water. So remember, day 1 is 4 cups. But You can do this 3 times with the same herb. And of course, the more times you do it, the weaker it gets. So you want to use less water. So I have my measuring cup, my strainer that I put a cheesecloth in. You don't have to put a cheesecloth in yours, but I prefer to put it in here. So I'm going to pour it into my entire mixture. I'm going to pour it in. Alright, so in my pot, where I should have began, I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze this. Get it all out of there. See that green water? Alright, I'm going to put this on the stove for a second. In my pot, I am going to put my stevia back in, my stevia leaves back in. That 3 cups, remember I said we're going to go down to 3 cups of water today. That's 3 cups. 180 degrees. So this is process 2, or step 2. I've been setting my pot in the in our guest bedroom because it's dark and it's cool back there. So it's the perfect place for it. Not in the kitchen where I'm cooking and it stand a chance of heating up or anything. So put my lid back on. I am going to cover it back up. I'm going to set this aside for another day. And we'll come back with the next step. I'm going to set this in the room and I'll come right back. Alright fam, so I got my pot of liquid stevia on the stove. I turned it up to high because I want it to boil. So this process you want to do for about 30 minutes. Or until it reduced by half. So I see where my line is now. It should reduce down by half. So, and it'll take about 30 minutes. I got it turned up. I'm going to give it a second so you can see what boil. Like you don't want to cook it or burn it, but you do want to boil it at a good rapid pace for 30 minutes. So let's give it a few minutes to get going and I'll show you what that boil look like. Alright fam, so look at that boil. We want it to boil. Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
But you do want to keep an eye on it because if your stove or the pot you using something boil fat, you don't want it to all boil out. Reduce it by half. But watch it, give it about 15-20 minutes and come back and make sure you check it, but you want it to boil. Keep it at this roll for 30 minutes. Alright fam, so I'm going to take this off, this boil. It's been about 30 minutes. Set it to the side and let it cool off. And then I have my jar ready to pour it in. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to strain this in my cup. So let me move you over and let you see what I'm going to do. Alright, so it's just hot now. That's the only thing. So if you need it to cool off, let it cool off. I'm going to strain it again to make sure I got all the particles out of it. Whee! See that? I still got a little something in there. Want to get that little leaf out. So I got that out. Get my jar. I won't put a top on my jar. I'm going to go ahead and pour it in my jar. That's my extract. So remember though, we doing this 2 more times. So right now I have my my leaves sitting in the cool, dark room for another day. And then I'm going to just set this to the side and let it cool off before I put a top on. I have a plastic top. Let me back this thing up and make sure you can see. So I have a plastic top that I'm going to put on once it cool off. Move my mat so you can see that liquid at the bottom. It's hot, so I'll just let it sit there for a little while. We'll come back. All right, fam. So here we are on the last day. We have stevia that has been sitting in our cool room. This, I'm gonna give it to the chickens. It's not much, so I can give it to them and they can enjoy a little sweetness in their life. They love these leaves anyway. So I'll give this to the chickens and not compost it because chickens can enjoy it. So alright, let our boil. So I only let this boil for about 10 minutes because it's only 2 cups of water, so don't need to let it boil too long. And then we'll come back in a few minutes. Alexa, set timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, starting now. While you wait, would you like to listen to a 5-minute daily news podcast?
All right, Alexa, stop. So, y'all know I have 2 jars of extract. This is the first day jar. Second. It's so strong. It's like super concentrated. So that's why it's good to add every day to it. That way it's not as strong because it is super, super concentrated right now. So I am going to add this one. To day 1. Then I'll eventually add day 2 to it. But that's it. After it boiled down, reduced down half, you just pour it off, let it sit. It's not hot because this was cold. So again, if you leave this on the counter, it is about a 30-day shelf life. If you put it in your refrigerator, you get about a year or more out of it, depending on how much you use it. But it's up to you how you want to store it. My big question. I have a big question. Hold on a second. All right, so this is freeze-dried stevia, or you can dehydrate your stevia and still get the same results. So if you prefer to powder your stevia, this is all you have to do. I have a simple coffee grinder. Stevia, freeze dried. Simple coffee grinder. Now, I would grind this down as fine as I can if you're going to use it as a powder. turn it over because I want my powder in my cup. So you definitely want this to be as fine as you can get it, and this is very fine because if you put stevia powder in your drinks, you want it to dissolve, not dissolve. So let's see what that looks like. Just gonna get a cup of warm water. Is it gonna dissolve? Look, my shovel spoon that I love. I'm only gonna get a little bit of stevia. I'm gonna put it in this water. So this is why I prefer mine just freeze-dried leaves or an extract, because those particles you do not want. However, you can put it in a tea bag, and then you really won't have to worry about them. But I don't want to have to worry about that at all. But, you know, you can powder it. It's totally up to you. We prefer the leaves. Just throw them in a tea bag and let it steep with your tea. Or definitely make your own extract, which doesn't take much to do. So, I don't prefer it this way. However, I did want to show you that you can freeze dry or dehydrate your leaves, and there you go. Grind them up to powder, or you can leave them whole like this. All right, Soil Fam. So there you have it. Homemade sweetener, sugar, however you want to call it. This could be your sugar. Throw away the other stuff. Stevia from the store, this is not it. 10 times better. So, freeze dried, extract. This is super concentrated. So you can bake with this. You can, you know, substitute anything that you use sugar for with this. Your own homemade, homegrown stevia sweetener. So, let me know. Do you make your own stevia? Do you grow it so you can make your own stevia sweetener? Whether you dehydrate, freeze dry, powder, extract. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you can be notified each and every time we drop new videos. Until next time, Soil Family,